My friend Mason and I hiked into the forest expecting a quiet night, completely unaware that something ancient and hungry waited deeper among the darkening trees. The air grew colder with every step, carrying a strange metallic scent that made my stomach twist with a dread I couldn't explain. We found an abandoned cabin that looked recently disturbed, though dust still clung to every surface like untouched layers of forgotten time. The silence around us felt unnatural, smothering even the breeze, as if the woods themselves were holding their breath and listening. When I noticed a perfectly round hole in the cabin's wooden floorboards, something inside me whispered that we should have never come here at all. I leaned closer despite the rising panic in my chest, not realizing that the real nightmare was waiting just beyond the shadows below. But then, something moved inside the hole. A twisted, human-shaped creature pulled itself upward, its skin stretched to tight, and its limbs bending in ways that made my throat tighten with nausea. Mason gripped my arm so hard, his fingers shook, his terrified eyes reflecting the creature's slow, jerking approach toward the weak moonlight. The thing's mouth hung open as if it were silently screaming, and the absence of sound somehow made the moment far more horrifying. My heart hammered painfully, pounding against my ribs, while my hands tingled with the overwhelming urge to bolt into the darkness outside. When the creature's head snapped toward us with unnatural precision, every instinct screamed that we were no longer trespassers, but prey. Mason mouthed the word "run," but before either of us could move, the creature took its first crawling step toward us. And its second step came much faster. We burst out of the cabin, stumbling into the forest as branches whipped our faces and the creature's distorted breathing dragged closer behind us. My chest burned while tears blurred my vision, making the forest warp into a maze of shifting shadows that seemed eager to swallow us whole. Mason's flashlight flickered violently, casting fragments of the creature's silhouette between the trees, every glimpse worse than the one before it. I kept hearing bones snapping with each of its movements, as if its body shattered and rebuilt itself every time it lunged forward. Every instinct screamed to keep moving, though the heavy dread sinking into my stomach told me escape was already slipping through our fingers. When Mason tripped over a root and crashed to the ground, the creature's rattling breaths suddenly sounded unbearably close, and then it exhaled right behind us. I grabbed Mason's arm with trembling hands, holding him up despite his terrified sobbing and the awful realization that the creature had nearly reached his ankles. My lungs felt like fire as we sprinted blindly, our fear twisting the forest into a nightmare landscape of crooked trees and crawling darkness. The creature shrieked suddenly, an impossible sound that vibrated through my bones and made the entire forest feel alive with watching eyes. Mason kept repeating that we were going to die, his voice cracking as the shriek echoed again, closer and clearer through the trees. I saw a faint glow ahead, a sliver of moonlight breaking through the dense canopy like a desperate invitation to survival. With the creature tearing through branches behind us, we ran toward the light as if it were the last hope we'd ever have. But the forest didn't want us to reach it. We burst into an open clearing, collapsing onto cold grass, while the horrifying realization hit us that the creature had stopped chasing but hadn't disappeared. The woods behind us stood unnaturally still, as though something enormous hid just beyond the tree line, waiting for us to relax. Mason clutched my arm, shaking violently, whispering that he could still feel its presence crawling inside his mind like spiders made of ice. I stared into the darkness, convinced I saw the faint outline of its twisted limbs retreating, almost as if it was saving us for later. My breath came in ragged bursts, knowing we escaped only because the creature allowed it. A thought more terrifying than the chase itself. Even now, when I close my eyes, I still hear bones cracking somewhere in the woods, reminding me the nightmare isn't finished yet, because it knows exactly where we live.